Okay, we are live. Just trying to get it ready in the group. All right, we're live, Laura.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Okay. All right,
Hey.
if we're on, say hello. And of course, the chat is not working, so that's great. So let me tell the team.
Okay, we're trying a new thing here today. So Liz is on our new gadget, and so yeah, that's why she keeps disappearing from view here, but she's trying to get things set up.
Yeah. Well, we're still streaming through the same app this time. So next week it might be a little different, but that's okay. We are going to get going. I can see the chats in our group, and then I'll have my team send me the chats on the other platforms. That way we can make sure it gets taken care of. Okay, let's talk seller. Who's excited? Good morning, everyone. Who's excited for seller leads? Who wants to know what's working currently in the 2023 market?
Okay, we you should have got the PDF to download a couple of days ago. So hopefully you got that, and the PDF gave you some hints on what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so they gave you some hints there, but we're definitely going to elaborate a little more on that. So there are three main type of leads that we mentioned on the PDF.
Mhm.
One of them is online lead generation. Okay, this is really where things are moving towards, and we are just at the beginning here. Especially with the last couple of years, AI, artificial intelligence, has been really taking leaps and bounds. There are a lot of different platforms and apps that integrate AI with real estate and a lot of different tools. So you really need to stay tuned on that. Okay, this is amazing what I'm reading that they're developing. The other thing is evictions. And one of the things that also came out from the last couple of years because of COVID, there are a lot of landlords that don't want to be a landlord. A lot of people get into being the landlord business and they decide after a few properties they just don't want to do it, especially with the experience they had over the last few years. So, looking for these type of landlords is becoming crucial. And last, the good old one, last but not least, is driving for dollars. But I would also like to mention a little different twist on driving for dollars, which is also combining it with farming. Farming is becoming is being the go-to person for a certain area. So not just being a driving for dollars, but like I always tell the students, you need to get out of the car and talk with people, connect with people, really do a little more than just driving. Okay, so combine that with the farming. But let's go ahead and get going. Liz, you want to go ahead and jump into one of them, and then you can take the second one?
Sure.
Okay. So the first one I want to talk about is online lead generation, and like I said, with artificial intelligence, online lead generation is basically harvesting all type of lead generations from social media to pay-per-click ads on Facebook and Google, and really going into that. Now there are different websites out there. First of all, that can give you an online presence. One of them that's very popular with investors is called On Carrot, carrot like the vegetable, and then they're very good at creating website. However, they're a little pre-packaged, meaning they're good website that can definitely help you with the SEO, search engine optimization, and all that. But you need to customize it, in my opinion. I don't like stock photos. I think you need to put some videos on them. So I have a lot of later recommendations when our students go into doing those websites. We help them or give them tips on customizing. We don't do it for them. We just give them the tips. But to be really more personalized, that's how you can really get a lot of exposure with those websites. Now, also ads, Facebook and Google. You have to know how you're doing it. It's not a success overnight type thing. Okay, you need to give it at least 2 to 3 months of a budget of maybe 1,000 to 1,500 a month in ads to really see some results. And so it's not something that you do overnight, but consistent effort. First of all, you have to get the analytics to understand, where you're doing your demographics and all of that. And then there is a follow-up process that has to be put on the back end, meaning as the leads are coming in, somebody needs to follow up with these leads, nurture these leads, like you do with anything else, if you do cold calling or so forth. But online lead generation is really where you can get a lot of leads, basically put on automated pilot. Now, Liz, you want to go into the second one?
Yeah, let's talk about the second one, which I want to kind of talk about is driving for dollars. So we did this poll in our student group, and one of the biggest feedback on leads was the drive for dollars as far as how many they could close per amount, right? So out of a general rule of thumb, out of 300 leads as a newbie investor, 300 leads, I mean, you don't talk to everyone, but 300 leads as a newbie investor, you close 1 to 2 deals after all is said and done. But out of, drive for dollar leads, out of 100 leads, you close, let's say 1, 2 deals out of 100. And then as you get better, like for me and Laura, it's about 8 to 10 deals out of 100 leads that we pull in for that. So driving for dollars is phenomenal. It's a great way. And you can do it virtual. I'm not going to get into that. That takes a whole thing. That's a whole lesson. But when I go to any of the cities that I'm in, because people are like, well, Liz, you do virtual. Yes. But what I do is when I'm already in that city that I already invest in, like St. Louis, where I go quite a bit, I go 3 or 4 times a year. I do a whole drive for dollars. So I take the afternoon, I drive around, and I look for properties that need work, that are neglected, that look abandoned, vacant, have papers on the door, for rent signs, for sale by owner signs. I look for all of it, and I drive around and look for that, write down the addresses, skip trace them, and then give them a call. And what is great about this that a lot of people don't realize is 30% of lists, like 30% of properties don't end up on some kind of list. They don't end up on other seller lists or lists you buy or lists that you pull. So you actually get these properties that are sitting there where they may not have ended up on a list because they're not in distress financially, but you see that they're not keeping up with the home and stuff like that. So driving for dollars and being able to get into the neighborhood is one of my favorite ways. If I can get into the field, I will, because I like to see the neighborhoods. I also get to update on what's going on. And then when I reach out, I can tell them I was in the neighborhood, right? So it's a little more of a personal feel. You get to see the homes, you get to take notes on the homes of why you wrote it down so that when you start calling, you have this like feedback on why you did that. So I wanted to talk a little bit on that. And I do a whole drive for dollars with my students. I've taken students out in the field. I plan to do that in July when I'm in St. Louis, where I'll take my students out to go drive for dollars with me. And it's a very nice, easy, and honestly, it becomes relaxing because you're just driving, you're listening to music, and you're looking at homes, which if you're in real estate, you need to love looking at homes. So I always have genuinely enjoyed that one. That's my favorite lead source to date. And then
Great.
Laura, you want a third?
Yeah, and the third one is, like I mentioned, really finding the tired landlords, the people that maybe they try to be a landlord and just do it, don't want to. It's not for everybody, okay? To be a landlord, it's not for everybody. You have to have a certain type of attitude for it, and also, organization. So a lot of people decide, yeah, this is not for me, and they don't want to do that. So with that said, how do you find tired landlord? Well, one of the best ways I found that is going to eviction, looking for the lists that are put out in eviction court. So now it's a little bit different for each county or each city where evictions are filed, how the process is. And it's not a list you can necessarily buy online. Okay. Now it is public information. When somebody files for eviction and they put out a docket of upcoming evictions, it is public information. But sometimes you have to go a little bit down of a rabbit hole to find these type of notices or lists. Okay, so it's different, and that's why with the students, I actually share how I found them, and then they kind of took the process for their own counting. But basically, the rationale behind it is that, when people, especially when you see somebody filing several evictions on under a person's name, it's they're probably in a situation where they're getting tired of doing this. A lot of time you're going to show attorneys or property management company, but then again, you can find who is the owner of these properties. So that one is why I say, going through eviction list is really highly responsive, targeted list. Okay, Liz?
I am here. I
Okay.
am reading the chat in the group. So
Okay,
you
what
guys
are
are
some
still
of the comments out there or questions? Anything
nothing yet.
coming?
Nothing yet, but we will go into raffle. But was this able to help you guys? While we're doing that, we're going to go into the raffle. So how this works is we have a raffle every single week for those of you that are on our other channels that are not in our group. If you want to join our Facebook group, fill out the questions so we'll let you in. It's Real Estate Investing Women. And what we do is we really promote community. And so we take our top three commenters of the week and we put them in a spin and they get to win. So we used to do most comment. We're switching that up because we want to do top three and give, the people that are interacting the most and really helping us build our community a chance. So we are starting that with next week's live. This week, though, we already have our winner. And we do different things every week. Sometimes we'll do gift cards. Sometimes we do fully skip trace leads. Sometimes we'll do gift baskets. We'll do whatever the topic of the week is, things like that. So it's really exciting. Everyone loves it. And it really just promotes community and people being in because who doesn't love free things, right? So this week, because we were talking sellers, though, we thought, why not give you guys a fully skip trace list of sellers in an area of your choice? So that is what we are doing this week for the raffle. And the winner that did this commented quite a bit. She already knew she was going to win because she's like, I'm getting this raffle. So I'm going to go ahead and announce you have 1 week to claim it. You'll email in at questions@realestateinvestingwomen.com. And Michelle Williams or MDW on Facebook is your name. You have won our raffle. So congratulations and thank you so much for commenting and posting and just in making the group so fun to be a part of. So I wanted to just say that. So let's all congratulate her. And then I'm going to bring Laura back on the screen and me. Congrats, congrats, congrats. So in the meantime, we want to talk about a workshop we have coming up. Laura, do you kind of want to explain it since you're hosting this with some of our coaches?
Yep. So this is the story behind this is that Jimmy and Patricia, who are also coaches now in our team, were students of ours back 4 or 5 years ago. They joined in. They came to one of our live events, and then they decided they needed some help, and I started coaching them. So they started buying rental properties first. So they were more into the buy and hold. But then soon enough after the buy and hold, they went into wholesaling. So they actually used the wholesaling to pay off their properties that they were buying as a rental. So they bought the properties within about a year after that, they got into wholesaling. But the good twist about that is that they used the wholesaling to pay off their rental properties. That's the thing. And that's what we're going to talk about next week in the workshop. So, Liz, if you can give him details about the workshop, what time, and also we can post the link
Sure.
here for them to join in. It's going to be free. They're going to be live with me on the workshop. They're going to explain exactly how they started. Now, also, when they start buying the rentals, they didn't have a lot of cash to invest in rentals. So, they used a little bit of creative way of doing it, and they're going to explain to you again in the workshop next week. So make sure you attend the workshop, really informative. They'll show their journey, how they started it, and now they own a portfolio of rental properties paid for, cash flowing every month, and with no mortgages.
Yeah, so this is June 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be for about 2 hours. It might be a little shorter, but just so you can plan, put about 2 hours aside. This is complimentary to our followers. Does not cost. And so you'll get to learn. And Jimmy and Patricia are just the sweetest people. Anyone that knows them knows that. And they have a different approach to things. So they're not very forced or like strong holding like maybe me and Laura are. They have a very different approach, but they do so well and it's just going to be great. So if you want to learn how to own free and clear properties in the next 2 years, then you want to get on this. This is the first time we've ever done it. We are trying it out, seeing if people are interested in it. So the more that sign up and show, this would become a regular thing that people will get to learn. Awesome. Okay. So we only have one question in, so we'll just do that one right now. Is how do you find the eviction list?
Like I said, it's a little bit different for each county or city where evictions are filed, but start from the office where the evictions are actually filed. Okay. Start from that office, find where that office is where people actually submit the documents, and then you have to go from there. But that's what you start with. And don't take no for an answer. That's the best thing because, a lot of people will say, oh, no, you cannot do it. It is public information, but you just have to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole to find it.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions? I'm looking at the chat here too. Are there any other questions though um, that we have? Team, I'm not sure what you mean by someone asked about the mastermind class. Do you see any changes in the market as the economy changes? Good question, Paula.
Yeah, I actually was reading an article the other day. I don't remember what it was, but it was a very reputable source. And they would say the economists are baffled about the state of the economy in the sense that it seems like things should be going, recession and everything else. Instead things are actually improving, escalating. Um, Prices are going up. It comes down to the consumer confidence. People are spending the money, right? They're not holding back, regardless of what is going on with interest rates and so forth. So, like I say, even because economists are baffled, they say that was not in their provisions. My thoughts are this: um, society right now is on a different vibe, has a different way of looking at things than used to be last recessions 15 years ago. There is a consumer confidence out there also because it's more of a global economy. There are different things at play that used to be a time ago. So even with the economy and everything else, even if writing was on the wall, the things should have changed because honestly, every 10 to 15 years, we are going to have a recession. We're going to have, it's a little different animal this time. So with that said, I don't think we're going to have any type of housing bubbles that there's going to burst. We're not going to have a drop in prices. The other thing is also happening is that there is not enough supply for the demand in real estate, right? So as a real estate investor, you are in a very unique position because there are properties out there that are distressed. There are people that are still going through whatever problems in their life, personal problems, if anything. And there's still property out there that need to be put back in circulations. They need work. They need to be demolished. There's now new things that need to be done. So as a real estate investor, you create these type of opportunities. You go out there and get this property and put them back in circulation. Do a fix and flip for people to buy it. Get the property as a rental for people to move into. The population is still very dynamic. They move around. They go short term, mid term rentals, even much more than they used to do years ago. So that market is becoming really popular right now, too, the mid and short term. So, with that said, things are shifting, but not in a bad way. They're just changing. And the demand is high. The supply is limited. There is a lot of money circulating more on a global basis because a lot of money are invested here also from all over the world, more than it was 10, 15 years ago. And so that's why I think the economists are baffled that yes, things should be different, but we're still going pretty strong.
Yep. And then we had someone that asked, is this the same time as the mastermind? So this is somebody that's a student. Yes, it is, but this is already part of your training. Jimmy and Patricia are your coaches. So they have talked about this. They have talked about this multiple times for you guys, but if you want to know more, you can ask on one of our student Q&As and be able to let them elaborate a little more. But yeah, this is already part of your training.
Yeah,
And
it's they're hosting calls every Monday for the students at 12 noon Eastern time. So ask them anything; they'll love to share.
yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump off. We are super excited though. Next week's raffle is going to be a whole vibe. So you want to go check that when that gets launched and join our Real Estate Investing Women group if you're not already in there for the ones that we're streaming to. For Real Estate Investing Women, it has about 14,000 women and it is super active and we love it. We give out PDFs, we give out all kinds of content, things like that in there as well. We will see some of our students here in a couple of hours on your student call. And Laura, do you want to say anything else before we jump off?
No, I mean, I'm glad to see all the interactions we're having online. And every week we are hosting new content. We have something very special coming up next week, though. Okay, so you want to stay tuned with that. We have something really special coming up for everybody, especially that wants to get into
Keep it
wholesaling.
quiet. Keep it quiet.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it. That's why we're timing it with the workshop we're having next week. Because how many of you here are interested in wholesaling? But more importantly, how many of you are interested in wholesaling as a jumping board to get your rental portfolio going? And how many of you would love to have your rental portfolio free and clear within about 2 to 3 years? How many here? I want to see in the chat. And if you are, you definitely want to pay attention to what we're going to offer you next week.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. We will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep interacting. Keep getting, the more you interact in any kind of community, the more feedback, interaction, information you will get. So join the community and really get to like interact, and you would just have such a good time. There's so many like smart individuals in there, so many empowering women. And I can guarantee that you will do it. And I know anyone else in the community would say the same. The more that they are involved, the more they get out of it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. I know summer is starting for so many people, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.